All right. Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Oh, hey, yo, hey. We already started the conversation.
When are we gonna get when are we gonna get like credit music, like intro music?
We gotta get an intro music.
Just so it's like
if Ryan could just shut us up by hitting it. It's like, just shut up, you guys, and go.
Oh my God.
We're officially launched. Let's keep talking about this. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, so what we were talking about, for those of you that we'll just edit in the clip later, just conversational, how to be a conversation master. And like, I like what you just said about the Jordan Peterson thing, saying just if you're bored listening to a story, it's because you're boring. That's how it went, right?
Yeah. Like they're not boring, you're boring.
It's so true, because everybody goes to for the majority, the same experiences in life, or they have similar experiences at some point or another in life, but how they perceive that experience is a different story to how someone else's, right?
Yeah.
There used to be a commercial. It's not really on the conversational topic piece, but there used to be a commercial where they put like 5 people in a waiting room, and then they would bring them into a room one at a time to a sketch artist. And then the sketch artist would ask them to describe one of the people in the room.
Totally.
Okay?
Yeah, I know.
And then the sketch artist would draw.
Oh my God, Dove did that too.
Right. Oh yeah, maybe it is a Dove.
So basically, when they have to describe themselves to a sketch artist, you end up with an ugly picture.
Yeah.
But when other people describe you to a sketch artist, you end up with a beautiful picture. And then they were showing the picture to the girls, and they were just bawling because they're like, "That's what I think I am," and then this is what everybody else.
Yeah. What a phenomenal marketing campaign.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Like genius.
Yeah.
And it's that, I think that needs to be revisited over and over and over for people's, like, just for themselves.
Yeah.
Like as an exercise, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah.
To like call a sketch artist, describe yourself to the sketch artist. And then have your spouse go in and describe you to the sketch artist and see the two differences.
I know. That's crazy.
That would be a great, like, if you ever had to, how come you don't love me, baby? Like, then you make them do that, and that would, like, blow their mind.
It would, wouldn't it?
That would be like, what a cool exercise. You know? And like here we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so the left one
Forensic.
is the I'm assuming this.
So that was somebody. Yeah. So on the left was her, and the right is somebody else. So like, look how much more symmetrical she is.
Yeah.
Bigger lips, more beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
Slender
no
nose.
Lazy eye. Like
no
on this
lazy
one, she
eye.
drew a lazy eye.
Yeah. Like her hair is it frames her face better.
Yeah.
You know, like, so she just looks more, it's like, I mean, in the scientific sense, the right's a more beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Right. Of somebody.
The self-image we have for ourselves is a problem.
Well, but I mean, that's a whole other episode. But it's just social media just massacred people's self-worth. Like, it just destroyed it.
Yeah. In mental health, it is so crazy.
It's just wiped it out. Like, it's out of control.
I'll be like, I'm off. I finally deleted Instagram. I even deleted Instagram. I was listening to all these motivational things, and then I got to the point where I'm like, I'm reading all these things, but I'm not executing any of these things that I'm reading that I find inspirational. I need to I just need to get into my own world and just do what I know is good for me with and not lean on inspiration.
Yeah.
Just go with what I've got, make it work, make it happen, right? And but dropping social media in the last 2 years, just about 2 years, like pandemic, I pretty much I haven't posted. We were at a funeral of a friend here last week. And a number of people approached me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you post on Facebook in so long. Like, where's your daughter? Where's your wife?" And it's like, yeah, it's weird, eh? Like,
but I bet. I mean,
feel good.
I've always been like that in the sense of when I go on a trip, I go to a different city, I go to, have dinner. It's like, I try not to.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes you out of it.
Yeah,
it just takes you out of the moment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
There's those odd things that you want to catch where here's me in front of the Eiffel Tower, or it's never me, it's us. Here's us in front of the Eiffel Tower trying to capture a moment of our bliss, and those are those are good because it's like we did a print of a book when we traveled to South Africa. And every now and then, like once a month, I'll pick that up, or once every couple months and pick that up and go through it with the girls. And it's like, oh, I remember that and remember this. Yeah. I'm so glad we have those photos. So I'm glad we took those of us, but it's us. It's not just like, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? Yeah. It's us. And it's crazy how subconsciously we just don't know it, that when we read stuff in Twitter feeds and all that sort of stuff, how we automatically
it's
put it on us.
Yeah.
Right. And like,
and then also
I'm
it's
not
like
in shape. I'm not eating.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's like you look at those, and like that's exactly it. You look at those Instagram models, you look at those like investment guru, I mean, it's all just a facade. Like it's all branding. Mm-hmm. So you have to recognize branding where it's like, well, no, that person is like, you're looking at 50 curated videos or photos of somebody.
Yeah.
And like you're supposed to put together an idea what their life actually is, like it's just it's so then people become, it's the same thing with like when you look at some of those billionaires or millionaires or whatever, like property guys, investment guys, and it's like, oh, I'm on the private jet, oh, I'm in the Rolls Royce, oh, I'm doing this, picking out my next Rolex, I'm doing this, but it's like, but they're not showing you the 80 hours in between each of those 1 hour.
Yeah, where he's like, where they're smashing his head into the wall.
Where they're grinding, right? Yeah. Like it's a fucking grind.
But then even with all the grinding, they're over exaggerating the things that they do have.
Well, yeah,
like the amount of. Do you ever see that documentary on Vice where the guy was like, I'm balling, blah blah blah, but then like at the end, they keep grilling him on questions, and at the end he's like,
no, it was all
he just
made
walks
up.
away. It was all made up.
That was the one about car rentals.
The
exotic car rentals.
And he's just like, I got this, I got that, I got this, and it was all just rentals and like fake. The money was fake, the jewelry was fake, the connections were fake. Everything was a sham, and you're going, whoa.
But if you're 17 or 18 or 20 or if you're 25, 30, like it's time to, fucking grow up. But you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm in my like 1-bedroom apartment. This is, I don't have anything going on. And you're like, and you're just feeding yourself that diet of crap of
false. Yeah, just this lie.
You're never going to get out. Yeah. Like you'll never get anywhere because you just feel like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Those women who are trying to get in shape, like for just health reasons, like, oh, you need to lose 40 pounds because you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not helping them like looking at that stuff. It's just crazy.
There was there's a lady who's got this Instagram feed before I offed it was follow me on my journey to lose 100 pounds. Mm-hmm. That one is like, that's inspirational. Like that's the one that people should be following because she was like, here's like the food I'm eating this morning. Here's some recipes I'm doing. Yeah. Here's my weight today. Like just, it's like raw and honest.
Yeah.
I like that was like, oh man, like good on you, girl. Like when I see people out that are like big and they're jogging or walking or something, I genuinely feel like good on you. Like you're
like
doing,
if you just show up,
like you're just doing.
You're at the gym, like if you just show up.
Yeah,
like if you can get out of the house
like
and go there.
I saw a lady the other day. A bigger lady. She just power walking, no phone. She wasn't looking at stuff. She just giving sweating like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. Just giving. It's like, you go, girl. Like you get it. Like you're. I just like that risk. What it should be is social media should be not. This could be creepy, but social media should not be you posting about yourself. It should be other people going like. Okay, I know that's not the intent I was going with, but it's like I want to take a picture of that girl and be like, look at this girl kicking ass, and then
build
that girl,
a social media company and be like, it's just going to be 10 million drones,
just
following people around. If you see something you like going on, snap a picture.
If you like it, snap a picture.
Grab a video of somebody, give a shout out.
Look at this creep just taking pictures of people sweating their balls off, running and in their most unflattering moments ever. You're taking pictures of them and you're just going like, God. Good on you. You're
hashtag killing it.
Just looking like shit. Yeah, that's the creepo. We'll call it the creepo app or whatever.
But that's also going back to your conversation thing. That's why people can't talk to anybody. Like you just fed that. You live online, especially the last 2 years. How are you going to go on a date? How are you going to have a meeting? How are you, it's just like, it's fucked up. I'll say it.
Yeah, I don't even know like how I would approach
fixing it.
Well, I don't know how I would, like you say the date thing. I don't even know how I'd approach dating right now. Like,
I'm terrified.
It's like, I either feel like everybody, I mean, it would have to be, the other person had to be pretty open to open up that conversation. Because I don't even know how I would approach somebody right now.
I will tell you right now. As I've been out a few years now. Thank goodness.
Yep.
But I will tell you that going back in for a while.
Dipping your toe in, it was a cold water.
It was cold water. It was hot lava. No, it wasn't cold lava. It was like napalm.
Yeah,
like you're like, what
is this?
This? Yeah. And there was, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple dates that were cut short. Because at our age you realize that there's not a lot of time.
No.
So you're like, you know what? It's been fun.
Well, and you kind of just want to get the bullshit out of the way.
Yeah.
You just kind of get in. It's like, listen, like, I do want to get married. It's like, hey, this is our like second or third date. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't got a lot of time to waste here. Are you on board?
Is it a possibility?
Like, is there a possibility? If this is not in your foreseeable mindset future, then...
But it's not just that, but it was it was just shit that they would ask or talk about or say to you, or stuff that they would say to you about their lives on the first date.
Yeah.
Within the first, 20 minutes. And you're just like, I'm not going to tie my wagon. You know what? I'm not tying my wagon to you because it's ridiculous.
There's a weird, there's this, like, I don't even get it. So a guy I know, he's supposed to be going on this, or he's going on this bachelor thing. And he's older than a lot of the other people that are going to this event, right? And there was a conversation that was had. I'm trying not to like
give it away.
Give it away here. Anyway, there's a conversation that was had that between these guys, and they had made some comments about like sexual things and stuff like that, right? And the guy that I'm talking to, he's like, dude, like these people are about 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And the conversation that they're having, and then they're playing it off like it's like, oh, that's just guys, right? Like, and they're looking at me going like, that's just guys, right, man? Like, we do that kind of shit. And my guy's like, no, like that's not cool,
right?
Like, I don't know why you would think that's cool, but there's like this group where they're just all like, yeah, like this is cool, like I get the societal concern that you see sometimes, and I mean, it's circumstantial, but where they're like, oh, today's younger males have like this weird, skewed perspective,
right? And
of what life,
anything is,
what a relationship is,
because
how to treat each other, let alone a woman or another human being. But like, you see how these friends treat each other, and you're like,
what are you doing?
What are you like? That's not. That's not cool.
You go to It's sort of like ironic that all of this sort of quote unquote not progress, but sort of like the campaign to I'm going to use the word, I don't believe in the word, but I'm going to use it to describe what's going on.
Yeah.
They're like this campaign against toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, that is this behavior is no longer acceptable in the society. It's because of a lot of factors, it's actually bred
for sure
the worst of it. Like it's actually, so if you take like, because men are just stupid apes. Like we're just stupid, like we're designed and built a certain way to get what nature needs to get done.
Yeah.
And you're actually breeding out all of the like virtuous qualities that keeps those things in check.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, that's part of it. It's like understanding that you're a protector, understanding that it's your job to hunt and gather.
Yeah.
And holding yourself to a higher standards, where the last like 10 years, but it's just the media and social media and these like psychologists, and I'm using air quotes, everybody, if your kids are just listening, like these psychologists and these doctors and these behaviorists and all these, you're basically just saying it's okay to be like just a meat sack that doesn't, whatever feels good at the time is okay because it's all good. Don't worry about it.
But then there's tools to enforce how you feel, even if it's a bad feeling, to feel the way you feel. Like it helps enforce it. Jordan Peterson, we brought it up earlier, where he talks about porn, and he's like, a guy can look at more naked women in seconds than he's ever than like guys 20 years ago would see in a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that does something to your
Of course
head.
it does. Of course it does. But you have society, that's exactly right. It's like, well, how can you just feed these young kids porn at younger and younger ages, sex education at younger and younger ages, and there's just no, and you don't think there's consequences, but at the same time, you have commercials where if a guy winks at a girl, he's a piece of shit. Like,
yeah, right. There's these two opposite sides of the spectrum.
So it's like, so what is it? Are we sex crazed meat sacks, or you know what I mean? Or is there something, a higher standard to hold ourselves to? And what is it?
Yeah, and there's like this the way that they market some of this stuff is just horrendous. I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it. Just how they market some of these explicit videos and things like that. It just whether it's taboo things, whether it's just crazy. Like you have to look into it to truly understand it. I found this post a long time ago. I think this blows your mind when it comes to just the weird stuff of humanity. But it's the number of years it took each product to gain 50 million users.
Okay.
So airlines took 68 years, cars took 62 years, telephones took 50 years, electricity took 46 years, credit cards took 28 years, TV took 22 years, ATMs took 18 years, computers took 14 years, mobiles took 12 years, the internet took 7 years, iPods took 4 years, YouTube took 4 years, Facebook took 3 years, and Twitter took 2 years. And the one that's going to blow your mind, Pornhub, 19 days.
Isn't that crazy?
To 50 million users.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. Well, it just tells you that it's, I mean, and that's exactly it. So,
it's
the idea, the idea that, like, now we're getting heavy, but it's just the idea that just because you feel like something, does that make it justifiable in the sense, trying to articulate it properly? There is a inherent virtue to deprive yourself of your base instincts. There has to be more to a human being than your base desires.
Yeah.
And even showing, how you said how long it took things to catch on to 50 million. That's also, if you look at that list, it's all stuff that was easier and easier and easier and easier.
Yes.
It's now, TV, I can just fucking turn my brain off and cook.
Yeah.
That didn't take very long. ATM, now I don't have to go to the stand in line at the bank teller. So anything that's sort of convenience related, where you don't have to put as much effort, is easier to adopt.
Yeah.
Right. So you end up with that idea that and that's exactly it. When these sort of, and it is the liberal left, when they say, oh, well, it's that idea that, people aren't going to stop having sex. Well, people aren't going to stop, the same thing as, and it's nuanced. So, but the gun laws, for instance, right? It's it's them saying, well, people aren't going to stop shooting each other. We need to take away the guns. But it's no, why can't people stop shooting each other?
Yeah.
Why can't you nip it? It's not a gun control conversation because I don't have a dog in that, but it's literally why is your first instinct to be well, those people are going to do it anyway. So let's just get rid of the tools that they would use, You know, same thing in BC. They just decriminalized hard drugs.
Minor amounts grams, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, but it's like, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's and then you're just deciding what amount of grams it's okay for people to kill themselves with. You know, because they're like, well, people are going to do drugs anyway, so we might as well make sure they have safe drugs. What? Why can't they stop doing, you know?
The approach to both of those subjects between guns and the drugs thing is, it's very complex. And you're right about the drugs thing. Like a drug addict, whether you make it illegal, fully legal, they're going to just do it.
But then why not
find out a way?
But then why not? But then at least like
guns for me, it's whether you take all the guns away or make it more difficult for a person to get a gun. I feel like if they really want to do something horrible, they'll find a way to do it.
Yeah,
whether it's with a gun or not.
But that's what I mean.
It'll
so
be something horrible.
What they're saying then is they're like, our plan is for 6 people to get stabbed instead of 19 people getting shot.
Right.
That's you know what I mean? They're like, that's something we're prepared to live with.
Yeah.
Whereas not saying, how come this so-and-so, this particular shooter, how come there's all these red flags for 5 years or 10 years, and then he can go to a store and just buy a gun. Why is, there was no effort to help, you know what I mean? Like, we're letting these kids flounder for years and years and years, and then when they finally snap.
Something that came to mind after this horrible incident that happened in the United States here, a couple weeks ago, is what is happening in the rest of the world when it comes to specifically school shootings.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen, and that's exactly right. Nobody
Are other countries having this problem too? And we're not hearing about it, or is this just a United States where these guys go on these rampages?
Well, because so you take Canada as a really good example. Getting a gun is easy in Canada.
Yeah.
Despite what, I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's quite easy, because you take a 1 day, or it's a half-day course. You write this hilarious exam that any moron can pass. You send your paperwork in. 30 days later, you get your PAL, your license, and then you just go to Cabela's and you can just load up.
Well, I mean, that guy in the United States, he turned 18 and a couple days later, he just went in and bought 2 AR-15s and
a bunch of ammo.
But
I mean, that's exactly it. So in Canada,
I don't even think he had to take a test.
No,
I think he just walked in, right?
But nevertheless, it's like test or no test. It's but in Canada, it's 30 days.
Yeah,
I'm taking care. I can go get an arsenal, and the same thing. There's we have capacity limits and semi-automatic. We are, the types of guns are a little more tight.
Yeah.
But if I walk in with a 7.62 hunting rifle, and it's still got 10 rounds and 10 rounds, it's still semi-automatic.
Yeah.
Okay. So it keeps the liberals happy because it's wood instead of black.
Right.
Or it doesn't have a Picatinny rail. You know what I mean? Big deal. So it doesn't look as scary, but it's doing the same job.
Yeah.
I can walk in. I can buy a shotgun. I can, with 16 rounds, pump action shotgun. You can walk into a school. And then in Canada, it's even worse because the police are going to take 30 minutes to get there. But it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not the tools.
It's the people.
It's the people.
The mentality.
The
social structure.
The social structure, right. And it's we're sliding that way, to be fair, because that's just the way the world's going. But it's that's exactly it. It's at some point, what makes somebody get up in the morning? And it doesn't matter what gun or car or knife or baseball bat they're using, but it's what drives somebody
to go to that
level. It's you got to nip that because your society's sick. You got to nip it in the butt.
And it's it's tough because I don't know if it's the time or place to have that conversation, but I know they just started going through the funerals for a lot of these victims, and then the memorial What is this? This is a day ago. I'm headline reading here, people. U.S. marks Memorial Day weekend with at least 12 mass shootings.
Yeah.
So I haven't read about any one of these individually, but 12 happened on the weekend.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Yeah.
And I don't hear about this unless it's in the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't hear about something like this happening in London, UK, Europe.
Yeah.
It's just because is that not my news? Like, I mean, if I Google right now, like what
Europe school shootings or
Europe
whatever,
school shootings,
what is
right?
that? What does that look like?
Or let's just say London specific. Oh, well, let's go Europe. Yeah, Europe school shootings. Okay. We're looking school shootings by country, 2022 world population review. This might not give me what I'm looking for, but I mean, like, okay, so Texas, Sandy Hook. Let's see, this is all U.S., Florida, Virginia.
Yep. Like there's something
around the world. The notion of school shootings are a uniquely American crisis is difficult to dispute, even given their alarming frequency in the U.S. compared to the rest of the industrialized world. That said, school shootings have also occurred in many other countries. While most school shootings are the work of one or two troubled individuals, some shootings, particularly in the Middle East and Africa, have been coordinated terror attacks.
Yes, that's different.
Yeah, and so we do hear about those every now and then. Like
they are
had
Europe.
School buses in Africa and stuff like that, where they don't shoot the bus up, but they take the kids hostage.
Yes,
and then there's negotiations.
Well, and you know what I mean. It's like, and then that's exactly in UK and Paris. It's like, okay, they've done a full gun ban, but there's a decent chance you could get blown up at a restaurant.
Yes,
due to so they have other issues. But it's
and then you go back to your conversation about tools.
Yeah,
like it's the tools that are available. It's just there's something about like shooting, stabbing. It's so personal.
Yeah.
Like it's a bomb is like they put it in and they walk away and they're not even there.
But those are terror attacks.
Those are like terror attacks, right?
That's different, right? Because that's more of a military operation, and like it's hard to say terror, but in their minds, it's more of a military operation. So they radicalize these people, and to have them say, "Hey, just leave this bag here."
Yeah.
So
how do you fight? Like how do you fight that? Like how do you not fight? Like how do you just rectify that? How do you come? Like I mean, outside of what they're doing is taking guns away from everybody.
Yeah. But it doesn't see, and that's exactly it. It's like sort of like harm. Like, I mean, it's so hard because it's like, I mean, all you want to do is stop what's, those 19 kids. Like you want to stop that from happening. That's the most natural thing in the world is you want to stop.
Yeah.
But it's like, but why? But we're actually like, so that what's happened to that kid or that person or that what's happened in their life where it like leads them to that point.
Moment. Yeah.
Right. And because, and that's the thing, like there would still be a correlation. For instance, this is a good, so Australia, after their mass shooting, they banned
it all.
All, right?
Yeah.
But, and then they touted, they're like, gun suicide went down like 98%, like suicide by gun.
Mm-hmm.
But the total suicide rates stayed basically the same.
Gotcha. So they just found another way.
They just find another way.
Yeah.
So by that logic then, in other parts of the world where there is zero guns, instead of a school shooting, you would have like one guy would take a knife or a baseball bat, go to the school and like kill his bully.
Right.
Or, like confront, so you would have, whether it would be 19 deaths, you would have the one.
Right.
Or 0, or maybe an attempted murder.
Or attempt, yeah.
But they don't even have those numbers. Like those actually aren't happening. Like you were simply not getting that like type of behavior. Anywhere else in the world. Guns or no guns. So I'm not saying that banning the guns is a prudent and natural way to deal with the situation, but it's like they really need to think about like what's going on in their society to like breed that person.
Yeah.
Like where does that person come from? But we just don't take care of mental health issues anymore. And it's so funny too. Mental health month. Talk this, all this bullshit marketing about it, but there's actually no infrastructure
right
to take care of these people.
Yeah.
You know, like they're marketing to like they're marketing the like chic mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're marketing the like, oh, you make $100,000 a year, you're feeling a little, you're really not happy. Yeah, you should go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're, you know, like, and these kids that, you know, they're diagnosing them with all kinds of issues when they don't have any of that. They just literally are being left like alone with like no help. You know, it's like so weird.
Definitely not my area of expertise for sure by any means. But the, you know, I listening to the Ricky Gervais stand up there the other day, and he talks a little bit about mental health. Like back in the day, it was like they would you're mental, right? Like they would just subscribe everything to
you're just crazy.
You're just crazy.
Yeah,
like if
you
don't like you know peanuts, you're crazy, right? Like it's like
you're scared of water, you're crazy.
I'm allergic to it. You're allergic? No, you're crazy, right? Like and then we've kind of developed more of that and the understandings of that. But he also mentions he's like, I think we're going too far the other way where we're too quick to but we're too quick to subscribe or prescribe something, a diagnosis to something so we can understand it.
Yeah.
And there's this other, I think another element to that where if we subscribe something to it, if something happens, we have a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like it's the more and more knowledge and information comes out, the more and more we feel like we need to know the answers to everything.
Yeah.
When sometimes you just don't know the answer.
Especially when it comes to kids.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's the perfect that's exactly it. Like you nailed it where it says like this like need to like have a diagnosis or have a name for something when it's like if I'm 8, I'm just a fucking idiot.
Exactly. I just don't know.
Like, I just don't know.
I've never been told that smacking that kid in the face is wrong.
Right. Or like, you know, they say like, why, you know, nobody knows why kids do what the things they do. So why does it, you know, you're just meddling with things that nobody understands. And why can't a kid have a phase? Why can't a boy wear a dress for a month?
Yeah.
Boys do stupid shit all the time.
And there doesn't need to be an explanation.
You just let it happen.
That's what's going on.
I was doing, you know, I was fucking my parents' house up so bad, you know, and it's just like, but they didn't put me on, oh man, he must be.
Yeah, give him some antidepressants
or give him you know what I mean?
Or something,
yeah, it's like or a lot of times I would play by myself in my room for Lego for hours. Yeah. And I just didn't want to talk I was just introverted. I didn't like talking to people.
As long as the kid's happy when they're doing it. But if they're like mopey and sad, then you know, address it. But if the kid's like, you know, go lucky, comes to supper still and things like that. Yeah.
You know, you get these parents.
There's a weird
and it's
line.
Like, and that's screwing up a lot. It's got a lot of other issues. It's like you can't, if a 4-year-old girl is playing with a Tonka truck, or a you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, what are you supposed to like analyze?
Just leave it alone.
Leave it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so, it's scary in a way because it's almost like these kids don't have a chance.
Well, and I think even some of that direction is from fear. Being a parent myself, 7-year-old, sometimes you look at certain things and you're like, oh, I hope that's not, you know, a sign or an indication. And it's at the end of the day, it's like, well, what if it is? Like if it is what it is. Like you can't force that out.
Yeah.
One thing I have to catch myself on so much. It sucks because I'm really bad at it. Is assuming that the child knows that that's wrong or understands why that person asked you to do something that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
You did it because you're like, I'm making my friend happy by doing this thing that they asked me to do.
Yeah.
And maybe the friend doesn't know that by asking you to do something is not proper, right?
Yeah.
And then I hear it and I'm like, what were you doing? Like,
what were you thinking?
Like,
yeah.
Aren't you thinking? Like, are you smart? Like, you know things. Right? And it's such an ignorant thing to say, to assume that common sense is there. Like, you know, there used to be an old saying where like, you can't teach common sense.
Yeah.
You can nurture it though.
Yeah.
You might not get it all the way, but like I talk about spatial awareness. I talk about like And kids are kids. Like you have to play the repetitive game where you just have to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I'll be repeating myself till they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
And
it
just like, is what it is.
With my niece, my sister sometimes loses it, and then she'll tell my mom, "Oh, there's something, she's crazy, something's wrong or whatever." And then my, parents grandparents now who've been through the whole thing.
You were just like that.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I was not.
Yeah.
I was smart.
Yeah. Do you mean she's acting like a 2-year-old? Like that's like what a 2-year-old is, right?
God.
But if you start to be like, oh, she won't sit still. Oh, let's take her to the doctor. Oh, and then of course, because of how medicated just the society is, the doctor's first thing is like, well, let's throw some pills at this 5-year-old and see what happens.
Yeah.
For anything, whether it's mental, whether it's, the entire. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, we had a sex education class for a bunch of 8-year-olds. They're all confused now. Oh, really? They're confused? It's like, that's shocking. You mean they didn't absorb that very adult
and like
nuanced
and those
concepts?
Conversations,
it's like
at 8,
it's
or
like
10
or
it's
even
almost
12,
too late. Like in today's society, like in my society, like I remember like sex ed education.
Grade 8.
Grade 8?
Grade 8. So that was, how old is that? Shit.
Grade 8.
12, 14?
You'd 13? Be like 12, 14, somewhere.
But I mean,
there,
that's when the feelings start.
Right.
That's kind of when it, like, they lined it up.
But they're having those conversations now.
But see,
like my 7-year-old in grade 2.
Yeah. But that's the problem.
Is going into these conversations but they're
going
not
into
equipped
for it because she's not feeling anything.
But they're going into those conversations because it's being brought up by friends who have these insanely liberal home lives. Like our kids having conversations with her friends, and then she's coming home and telling us, like, I was told this and this, and you're going, you're 7.
Yeah.
What do you mean you were who told you that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hanging out with a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that 10-year-old know the depth? And that 10-year-old doesn't know the meaning of what those acts are or consequences or any of that stuff. Like I feel like kids are discovering themselves, like their bodies, and even like just education wise, like because our kid's still online, they're going through like the personal hygiene talks. Those are good. Like I think those are great hygiene talks. It's just I don't remember having hygiene talks until I was like in gym class, at an older age.
Mm-hmm.
They're having these hygiene talks, and they're like, and it's good. Hygiene is a good thing, and we have those conversations with her too. Brush your hair, brush your teeth, wash your face, clean your eye boogers, all that sort of jazz, right?
But that's almost like well, in the old. I say in the old days. Oh my God, I'm freaking so damn old. But it's like, that wasn't even a because my parents taught me that stuff.
Yeah. But it was like beat into me. On the flip side of that, I think in a lot of cases, parents aren't having those conversations.
Not anymore.
Right?
No.
And so those kids are going elsewhere to find that out, or having experiences where they have to find that out.
Well, and it just goes from
their way.
It just goes from see, it's all.
Oh, it's
no, but it's all
leads.
It's all connect. This sort of, if you talk about, let's go back to that poor, that person who gets up in the morning, decides to go shoot up a school. That is the final worst case scenario of this structure that's been sort of built and layered.
Yeah.
Where you know what I mean?
Don't intrude. When to intrude? The line is so thin. When do you get involved?
There's no parents at home. There's no friends. There's no people live online.
The structure of bullying is like way out.
Yeah.
Mental, like the mental growth, the information, like the throw of information at people now with just like I'm going to go in we're going to move this topic along here, and this is how we're going to get there. This is my transition. Watching Stranger Things the other day, binge watched all 7 episodes.
So good.
Oh my God.
So good.
Okay. But the last episode, no spoilers, but there's a conversation that the bad guy, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but the bad guy is happening with the good girl. And the conversation is so woke in depth of like what does it all mean if you have the power to destroy the people that do you wrong? You do it.
Yes.
Because no one's here for you. No one loves you. No one cares for you. You are you, and then us powerful people need to stay together, and we need to
and we remake. Take care. And then he's like, you remake the world in your image, right?
And so like,
that's like
well, just listening to that, like I'm gonna go back and watch it again just for that monologue that he has.
Yeah,
but I can see how that monologue could get into somebody's head that is going through troubles in life, and go, yeah, you know what, that guy's right. Fuck this. I'm gonna make it right for me.
Yeah.
Because no one else is out for me. No one else has got my back. So like,
but it's that feeling of nobody. It's like that isolation, that like deep isolation where it's like you're connected. You know, you've got thousands of people who can like watch you and find you.
Yeah.
And when you say something, it goes out to the world.
Yeah.
Yet somehow people feel completely alone, completely isolated,
and fearful of speaking their mind in fear of ridicule, even if their thoughts are justifiable or self-justifiable. Like, I feel this way, I need to express myself because it's really bothering me. But then they get this like insane cancel backlash where then they go, I can't say anything.
So you just go with
the
flow.
So then they let it go inside and then it explodes.
Well, imagine.
It's crazy.
It's sort of microcosms of like, I remember having arguments with my friends about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I would be like, you know what, you're fucking stupid. And he's like, no, you know what, you're fucking stupid. I'm like, all right. And then
you move on.
And then you just move on. Like, I disagree with a lot of people about a lot of things.
But you get it off your chest. But it's just off your chest.
It's out.
It out.
Yeah.
And when it's out there, there is a relief to that.
But that feeling of being, okay, you take those same 10 friends who you would actually be standing in a circle, like in a in a locker, in a hallway, or at a wherever.
Yeah.
And you have that conversation. But now it's like, well, if I say that online, it goes out to 2,000 people.
Yes.
And how does that affect my, like, you know, my social, wherever in my head, what I think is my kind of social standing.
Yeah.
When really, so then you end up with these people who are like, you know, that's exactly it. They're just totally alone. They don't have anybody to talk to.
Confused.
No siblings.
So
like, that's
confused.
another thing. So it's like, when I come home from school,
yeah,
I would still have to keep socializing with people around my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older.
That's a good point.
You know, and then it was family dinner. You had to like sit down, and you were sitting at tables with an adult and with your, you know, and it like brings you up. Like it just, now it's like,
well, and in some of those circumstances too, when you have a sibling, you had someone that understood your situation too. So if you did have a bad home, you had a sibling that was there, you know, if they were within a few years of each other, you had someone to relate to, you had someone to lean on, vice versa. That's a great point, because more and more homes statistically are having less children.
Typically
so you're down
one. Right. So it's typically one.
So
typically a broken home. Like, it's like 50-50 chance you're living with just your dad or just your mom.
Yeah.
So you're already, you know, you're out, like, so the average person is probably dealing with like 3 less people than they would. At home.
Like, and we're talking like within the last 10 to 15 years.
Because it's just like it's just dropped. And then you have these people 35, 40, 45, 50, just cripplingly unhappy.
Yeah.
Because they've just led this sort of like, it's all about me lifestyle. You know?
Yes.
Everything has to, you know, I'm, you know, this job ain't, now, you should always be doing what makes you happy.
Yeah.
But I mean, but this idea that the world can change around you is just not real.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these people living that life. And then they wake up one morning.
Yeah.
And it was all.
And they go, what was this all for?
What was it all for?
What's this for?
You know? Yeah. And they say, what's it all for? It's like, well, if you had found meaning earlier, you would know what it's all for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it can be for a bunch of different things, because everybody's different. You know, there's not one way, but it needs to be something. You can't just be going back to the very beginning. It's like, you just can't be a sort of sex-crazed maniac who just wants to feel good every minute of every day without the, like, virtue to sort of understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I can already know listeners would have arguments against this too, in the sense of like, too many options can be a problem.
Yeah.
Not enough options can be a problem.
Yeah.
The times, obviously, trying to find that circle that fits you. Smaller towns have maybe more problems with that because there's lesser people being.
But also sometimes it's better because they're a tighter community.
And so then there's that argument. So there's
what is it?
It's really like you just can't. There is no answer.
No.
Like we are trying so desperately to find answers to things that I think there just isn't an answer for. Like it's everybody has to figure it out for themselves. Yeah. It's just shame and sad when they involve other people into the negative decision path that they decide to take.
Well, and I think there's this as we become more quote unquote advanced and progressive, there's these structures, these old structures.
Yeah.
The church,
Oh yeah.
Like the religion, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we've had this discussion and we didn't even bring that.
No. But I mean, But I mean,
Nick.
like things like there's these structures that we've sort of just haphazardly thrown out.
Yeah.
As we've gone, because it's because there's less, and that's not to say there's not issues with those things, but taken together, each of them brings a little something to the table that tips things. One way or the other. So it's like, so if I have a community center that we go to every Sunday, well, we don't know what effect it has, but it has some effect. So it's like having two parents in the home. We don't know what effect it has, but it has some.
Yeah.
So if you have all these like 2% here, 5% here, 6%, 10%, and it leans and it tips somebody into having a more stable life or more their mental state being a little bit more level, that now that we've said, like religions, but they're a bunch of, child molesting assholes. Okay. We're not going to church anymore, cool. But what the things that were positive that you took out of it, where's that stuff coming from now?
Yeah.
You need to replace it with something.
Well, yeah, because a mass part of church, you could take God right out of church and just go off this social gathering every Sunday. Like there is something very powerful to the ritual of just getting together on a scheduled time, like a podcast where you can talk with your buddy and sort out thoughts and try and make sense of the world, for our own mental health. I mean, like when we had a break from this, I was going nuts.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm
reading all these news and I'm like, I want to talk about this. Like, and I don't know who I can talk about this that isn't going to take this the wrong way.
Totally.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same thing for the listeners. Like we'd hope more, I hope that everybody goes into every conversation with an open mind, and unfortunately, that's not the case 90% of the time. But there is something to be said about that community of people getting together.
Yeah.
I just talked to the lady yesterday. So she's got 2 kids. They've been out of school, and she held a birthday party for them. And she invited all the kids from their online class to come to this place to go in bouncy castles.
Right.
And like I was so enthralled with the conversation that she was having, because she was like, just to see the look on my kids' faces that like all these kids showed up and everybody came, and the parents came and thanked her for putting this thing on, and everyone was having a riot, and like they hadn't been together for like so long because of COVID and everything. But that was happening before COVID.
Yeah, like pretty regular.
When people weren't getting together very often, and whatnot.
It was already like kind of like disintegrating. The fabric was like just disintegrating, and it's like what that fabric is made up of is different for everybody, and there's no right or wrong answer, but there needs to be something.
It's gotta be.
You can't just wake up in the morning and there be nothing, because then you get
nothing.
Though that 1 in a million people it just tips them.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just tips them.
Yeah.
And then that's
so
it.
It's there's something to be said about that kind of stuff. I think we gotta get
wrap it up.
Going here. Yeah. The phones are starting to ring.
We always it always happens at the same time too.
Oh yeah, there's work and real life. Dang it. We'll have to talk about Stranger Things. You watched it all though?
we binge watched Stranger Things. Thanks to my fiance, because she was like, "We're fucking doing this."
Yes,
she's like, "Get on the couch, baby," and I'm like, and I'm old school. I'm like, let's savor it. Let's. I love doing the like me. I'm just we gotta end it, but I love the like 4 or 5 days. Grab another one. Look forward to it, because I grew up on like,
I guess,
next week on Star Trek, next week on this, and I just structured television. And I just now it's like she's like look up when part 2 is. And I look, I'm like, looks like July 1st. She's like, July 1st. It's so long. And it's like, well, because we blew through it in 36 hours.
That's the problem. We looked like, well, when's part 2 coming out? And then Pranita told me, and I was
like, I got even more bad news for you. When that's done, it's 18 months to the next one after that.
It is so good. Fantastic storytelling. Yeah. There were some people that were complaining that it was too long, but man, I think it was worth every moment. Like,
I agree.
You really cling on to every moment.
And there was some like tense moments. I loved. We can talk about it. I love the horror. They brought the horror back hard. I was some jump scares. Fuck yeah, it was awesome.
The graphics were like arguably better than some of the Marvel stuff that's coming out.
Well, we know about that.
Yeah.
So
and then Obi-Wan, we're gonna have to visit Obi-Wan. So that's next week.
We'll do episode 3 of Obi-Wan, and then we can talk about the first 3 as like a whole.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then we'll do Obi-Wan and Stranger Things.
Yes, awesome.
Cool.
All right, peace, everybody. Stay healthy and have a great week.